And here we got Kalli. Kalli is chocolate female out of Tycho and a really neat female named Piper. Piper was an outside female that we did, and Kalli was actually a dog we got for stud fee from that breeding. We actually took a pick of the litter puppy, and that ended up being Kalli here. Um, and she is a lovely girl. Interesting thing about Kalli, one, she's only 7 months. She was born the end of November. Um, she's a pretty big dog. Looking at her physically, her structure compared to some of the other dogs that are adults, I mean, she's as big as some of the adults, and she's only 7 months. So I think Callie's going to end up being a pretty big dog. It wouldn't surprise me if she hits that 70-pound range. If you look at her, she's got a lot of leg. She's going to be pretty. I think she's going to be a pretty big, tall female. Make a really nice dog. Um, Callie is also interesting. You know, you never know what you're going to get when you get a pup. I mean, you you always look at pedigree and go with it. And I know I've had people before who tell me, hey, I got this dog. It's got this great pedigree, and as a puppy, the dog didn't retrieve, like no retrieving at all as a puppy. It happens. And it's actually more common than some people might think. When we go through a bunch of dogs, you see dogs that are like this that don't retrieve at all. Callie is one of those dogs. She doesn't retrieve at all. Now, she does love to chase. So here's something to think about. If you have a dog and you are worried about your dog not retrieving, um, it is not uncommon at all for a young puppy to not retrieve. It does happen. Um, I wouldn't say it's super common, but it is definitely something that happens. Even in very well bred dogs, there's a lot of young dogs don't want to pick it up. Now, there's no cause for concern. Where you need to be concerned is if the dog does not want to do two things. There are two critical things. If the dog does not want to chase the object, if they have no prey drive, if they have no desire to chase and go get something, go run after it, that's a problem. So Callie has always shown very strong prey drive to want to go chase, to want to go after something. She just hasn't shown very much natural instinct to actually pick it up. Um, so if the dog goes and chases but doesn't pick it up, I never worry. That's not a problem. That's actually what I see fairly often. The other thing that makes Callie, I think, is a strong um, positive for her is the fact of how attentive she is. I mean, here she is off leash, and she was sitting here. As soon as I say that, she wanders off. She's very affectionate. She's very attentive to me. And so that is very valuable because this shows me a dog who is ready and willing to learn. And so that's a very useful thing when we have a dog who is like, okay, what do you want to teach me today? I can teach any dog to do this. And following a well structured program, you can get pretty much any dog to be a competent retriever, especially any well bred Labrador or well bred retriever breed will typically turn into a nice retriever if you go through the program. But it makes life a lot easier when you have a student who wants to work with you, who is attentive to you and is very in tune with you. Also, like, gosh, you cannot ask for a nicer, sweeter dog at this stage. She is just such a lovely, wonderful girl. So we're working on doing hold and force fetch with Callie. And as we would expect, Callie is very compliant with this. A dog who's attentive, a dog who's willing to learn, is very likely to follow the program nicely. Good. Give and not give a lot of refusal. Sometimes when you have a really high drive dog, a really intense dog, sometimes you can get a lot more refusals, a lot more explosion. Sometimes people say, the dog's either going to go out and run this test and just look amazing, or they're going to just absolutely explode and do something stupid. I think Callie will be a much more, level-headed. I don't think she's going to be a dog who's going to just like lose her mind when we start doing big, complicated stuff. Good. I'm going to try to stop talking for this rep. Give. Good dog. Good. And if you have a dog who is like really needing to like lean into you like this, if they're needing some reassurance, that's okay. You can start out like that. I kind of had her between my legs, and then we can kind of move over here to more of a classic heel position, just slowly moving her around. Okay, now we're going to go to ear pressure. And as with most cases, when you have a dog who's pretty compliant, it takes very mild ear pressure. I am squeezing that hard. I mean, just enough that she feels it. Not trying. We're certainly not trying to hurt the dog. Not trying to cause discomfort. We simply want them to feel a stimulus. Good. Good girl. Good. Slowly shaping this hole. Good. Give. Good dog. Good girl. Let's do a couple more here real quick. Squeeze. You can probably tell on video when I squeeze because the dog usually like moves. You'll see them kind of like they're responding to that stimulus. You'll see the same kind of thing happen once we do e-collar conditioning. Same sort of head response. It's all about them responding to a stimulus. Good. So now we got a hand off. Good girl. Give. Good. One last time. Squeeze. Give. Good dog. Good. Okay, let's do a couple of, spill my drink. A couple of little reps here with obedience. Good. Here. Heel. This is actually is a common problem. What do you do when the dog wants to face you or when the dog is 90 degrees off? What I like to do when I have a dog that does this is you come back to the heel position, but go past the mat, okay, and then come back forward, sit. That way you kind of reshape them, get them back in there, and eventually, instead of taking kind of 2 steps back, you'll just take 1 big step and kind of swing her around. Let's see if we can do that again. Good. Also notice that I'm using a very small leash today. I'm trying to kind of get our leash work under control. Good. Sit. Good girl. Good girl, Kalli. All right. So that's a good look at Kalli.